Hey guys, Jeff here with the Common Sense Camper. Most of my videos I try and keep really brief unless it's an outing video, but this one's going to be a little longer in length because I just have to say I'm very impressed with this sheath. And how I found out about this sheath was actually from a video that Chris Tanner did over at Prepared Mind 101, and he was talking about the Mora Garberg and this particular sheath. And when I saw that system, I said that is absolutely what I need. Now I prefer a Dangler style knife or sheath, and I will show you in the video here next why I prefer that and why I like a Dangler style sheath. But this is a company called C2G Fab. It's a C2G Fab. I'll put a link below in the comments. The sheath, first off, I have to tell you, is very, very well made. It's very thick, and I can tell you the reason I know that this is well made and very thick is when I first received this sheath, I mean, it was all I could do to get the knife out of the sheath. However, don't freak out, especially with a plastic or Kydex sheath. You can fix that very easily, and I will show you in this video how to do that. But I know that this sheath is very well made and it's very thick because this took 3 times as long to mold. And again, I'll go over that in the next section here. And it took a while to get it heated up to the point where I could mold it. But once I did it, it was very simple, and now it is at the retention that I prefer. I am not a mountain climber, so I don't expect that I have to be flipping upside down and make sure that this is really in tight in order to make this carrying system enjoyable. I just want something just enough so that it locks in place and it's not going to fall out. I also ordered with it a 1/2-inch ferro rod holder, and again, now this I molded just slightly because as you use this, it's going to wear down. This will become very loose in this. So but again, it was very tight, and it really did not need the shock cord if I had not remolded this. It was very, very tight and secure. I also like the fact that he uses screws so that for some reason, if I decide I don't want to keep this ferro rod holder on the knife or on the sheath, I can just remove it. I can take it off. I can also remove this if I want to. I can even remove the backing of this. So if I wanted to just keep this very streamlined, I don't know that I would carry this in my pocket, but maybe you have a pair of bush crafting type pants or cargo pants or Carhartt pants where you could just slide this in a side like a thigh pocket. You could actually remove all that and just have this very streamlined flat sheath. So when it comes to knife sheaths, the reason I prefer a Dangler style is because it gets it down away from my clothing. And especially in winter when you're wearing bulky clothes, I've found that if I'm using a sheath that just goes right to the belt, I find that I'm constantly fighting with my shirt. I'm pulling it up, I'm pulling it down, and for me it's just not easily accessible. Also, even in the summer and spring, I typically wear a t-shirt, but I wear it outside of my pants. So I want something that I can get to easily, and that's why I like a Dangler style sheath. Now, a lot of you don't like Danglers, and I understand it, I get it. They flop around, and some people just hate Danglers. But if you like Danglers, I'm telling you, this is an awesome system, and especially with this Mora Garberg. I mean, you cannot go wrong with this system. But the other reason I like a Dangler is when I sit down or kneel down or I'm moving, this thing moves with me. I don't have it poking or jabbing into my stomach, you know, if I'm carrying it scout style in the front or in the back or fixed up high. When I sit down, I don't feel like my sides, if you have love handles, you know, it's jabbing into the top of the knife. So that's why I prefer a Dangler. Now the reason I really like this Dangler in particular is the fact that there's a thumb ramp on it. And I know that sounds silly to a lot of you. You're going to say, well, what the heck difference does it make with a thumb ramp? Well, if you'll notice on some of my other videos where I have a leather sheath, if you go back and look at those videos, you'll see that even on my leather sheaths, the top part of the sheath is kind of smashed down, and that's because when I draw a knife out of a Dangler, I'm not drawing it like this. I'm actually I slightly turn it, and then I push the knife out, and then I resheath it. So I'm kind of pulling it up like this, keeping it clear of my clothing, and it works really well. Now, the other reason I like this is that it swivels. It's on this D-ring, and so it moves this way and this way. Some Danglers are so rigid that they don't move this way. They just kind of flop in and out. But this one is great because I can actually turn it and draw the knife out, which makes it a great carry system for me personally. And I don't feel like I'm, bending down to try and see where I'm putting it back into the sheath. I was wearing an 1.5 inch wide leather belt, and it fits in there very nicely. It's not too loose, it's not too tight, because he's made this thing very multi-purpose as far as taking things on and off of it. It simply has 2 screws in it. So if you wanted to, you could get yourself a piece of heavy-duty canvas or even leather, make the loop a little larger, and put it back on the sheath very easily. And again, that's one of the reasons I really like this setup, is that he didn't put a bunch of rivets and fixed things on here to where I can't modify and change things in and out as I choose. Okay, as far as molding or changing the retention on, and you can do this with any Kydex or plastic sheath, what you're going to do, and on this particular sheath here, is you're going to take a hair dryer. Now, a lot of people use heat guns. I've used heat guns as well. But one thing I'll caution you with a heat gun, if you get Kydex hot too quickly, it will get very shiny, and you'll know that you heated it up way too quick. So a heat gun works a lot quicker. However, I would recommend to use a hair dryer, only because it's going to give it a nice slow heat, and you're not going to bake it. So with this particular sheath, what I did is I put the blow dryer about 3 inches to 4 inches away from this top part here. I heated up the inside for probably 7 minutes. And then I came to the top, again 3 to 4 inches away from here, and I heated this up for about 5 minutes. And then I went to this point here, and this is going to be kind of your weaker area because it kind of thins out right there, and it has a split in it. And I heated that up. Once I did that, you can feel that it's kind of it's a little pliable. You can feel that it's warm, that it's pliable and workable. Then what I did is I simply took the knife and I placed it in the sheath. Now on this particular knife, it has kind of a raised area here, right where it gets to the spine of the knife. I'm going to try and do this on camera. It's a little harder to do when it's cooled off and hard, but when it's soft, you can take the knife and you just kind of put it in there about halfway, and you'll feel the tension right before the click. So right before that click is where you want to put that, and it's easier by feel. It's hard to explain on the video, but you'll feel it. You'll feel that it's tight, and then just let it sit there and let it cool off. And what that's going to do is that's going to widen that mouth, and it's going to allow you to reduce the retention on the sheath. And now for me, it comes in and out very easily, and that's kind of what I'm going for. Now, if for some reason that's too much, again, same process. You just heat this up again, and then just kind of push down and remold it. And it's very simple to do. Don't freak out over it. If you've never done it, again, I highly recommend you use a hair dryer, not a heat gun. This is Jeff with the Common Sense Camper, camping out.